Republican votes.
Joining us now is Congresswoman Barbara Lee, a Democrat of California, a member of the House Budget Committee. Congresswoman Lee, thanks for being here tonight. I wonder if we could start with, we talk a little bit there about what happened in the summer of 2011 when the president, who had been sort of humbled by the 2010 midterms, who decided that his way back was going to be through compromising and negotiating with Republicans, and he tried to compromise and negotiate over the debt ceiling with them. He felt that he got burned. I wonder how that experience of watching that all play out and of living through that in 2011 has shaped how you've approached this current crisis and this current showdown.
Well, Steve, first of all, I did not support that deal because we saw what was to come, understanding that the Tea Party Republicans once again came here to Washington, D.C., to Congress to do one thing, and that was to dismantle and to decimate government. And we saw that in 2011. We see that now. This is part of who they are. This is their agenda. Is what they want to do, and I think the history that you have recounted tonight, I'm glad you're doing this, because people have to remember who the radical extremists are, and they are obsessed with denying millions of Americans affordable health care.
And I always thought, Congresswoman, that at that moment, when that debt ceiling deal, that last-second deal that ended up sticking us with the sequester day, when that was struck at the end of the summer of 2011, that was sort of a turning point in the Obama presidency. It was after that he went to Congress and he had his American Jobs Act speech. He gave his speech in Kansas a few months after that. His sort of tone towards the Republican Party in Washington and the way he talked about the challenges he was facing in Washington to the American people really seemed to change at that moment. Is that something that you saw?
I saw that, but I also have to say that since President Obama took office, he has consistently and constantly tried to reach across the aisle, work with Republicans to try to get some bipartisan agreement. When the Recovery Act came forward, he worked very diligently to try to get them to support it, and in fact, we put in provisions that I did not want to vote for, but because we had worked with the Republicans, the president really tried, and we did not get one vote for the Recovery Act. And so he's been trying from day one to seek bipartisan agreements. Now here we are, very close to a default. I mean, what in the world are these radical individuals who have come to Congress trying to do? They're trying to do one thing, and that is to dismantle and decimate government. And the American people, thank God, are realizing this. And so hopefully within the next 24 hours, they will come to their senses, and Speaker Boehner will have courage enough to bring the bill forward, what comes from the Senate, so that we can vote, so that we can open the government up. We can make sure that we do not default on our debts, pay our bills, and move forward and try to negotiate a budget that's real for the American people.
Well, a little bit about this deal that seems to be taking shape in the Senate right now, in the context of what we're sort of laying out here about sort of stopping the Republican Party or stopping any opposition party in the future from claiming the debt ceiling, from claiming the threat of default as leverage, as negotiating leverage. This whole shutdown, this whole debt ceiling, crisis was precipitated by Republicans looking to get major changes to Obamacare, looking basically to gut Obamacare with these threats, and Democrats saying there's going to be absolutely no negotiation on Obamacare. This is a line in the sand. It's been drawn in the past. We're going to redraw it right now. The reporting we're getting, and we had Robert Costa on in the last segment, the reporting we're getting about the Senate deal is there's probably going to be one small, very small, but a small Obamacare change in the Senate deal. It would involve verification for people entering, for people getting subsidies from the federal government for the Affordable Care Act. Do you think the fact that anything was changed at all about Obamacare, if that's the reality in the final deal, do you think you've succeeded still in sort of reestablishing the tradition of nobody claims the debt ceiling as leverage, or do you think the fact that anything was given away in Obamacare at all is a problem?
We don't know exactly what's taking place, what will be in the Senate agreement, but I can tell you one thing. The American people understand that the radical right-wing Republicans have held this country hostage. They created this shutdown. People need to go back to work. Government services need to be provided, and we must pay our bills, and we should not default on our debt. None of these issues should be negotiated. This is a given. We pay our bills, and we keep the government open. The rest of the world is looking, watching us, and can you imagine what people are thinking? Here we are saying that we're going to negotiate, or at least the radical Tea Party extremists want to negotiate on paying our bills and want to negotiate to open up the government. That is unacceptable. We need to pass what we call a CR, which budget bill at a level that I detest. Really, it's too low. It's the sequester level, but we need to pass that so we can get to a real budget committee and begin to talk about how we move forward. That's what we need to do. We've compromised quite a bit, so we need to put the bill up. We need to ask the Speaker to have some courage. I know that there are enough Republicans to vote for that bill. We need to do that and move on.
All right, Congresswoman Barbara Lee, Democrat of California, member of the House Committee on the Budget. Thanks for joining us tonight. If the Democrats